Things you might have not known: the role of Finland in the Holocaust tragedy. What mark did Finnish special battalions leave in Babi Yar?
The blood is crying out here. I want to ask for forgiveness on behalf of my family and Finland.
And what should we pay attention to first when studying Kiev history from Jewish point of view? Stay tuned and you'll learn answers to these questions. Jewish Kiev. We are used to viewing it as something cultural and architecturally attractive. Distinctive side streets of Podol, museums, and other remarkable masterpieces of Jewish architecture. Thousands of tourists from different cities and countries visit Kiev every year. Many of them come to specifically look into Jewish history of the Ukrainian capital.
The Pale of Settlement established by Catherine II used to be here in Ukraine. In terms of the size of the territory and population, it was one of the largest Jewish settlements in history.
However, at the same time, Jewish Kiev has another, equally important but not as merry and colorful facet. Babi Yar is steadily becoming one of the first locations that tourists visit on their tour around Kiev. It's not long since we've told you of a new app. Special audio guide around Babi Yar was developed in Ukraine. High-quality sound, historical summary. Audio guide is available in several languages to keep the memory of those events alive. A group from Finland came for a special tour.
This is an impressive tour. We've learned about the history of Kiev and its sites, namely Babi Yar, a notorious place where Kiev Holocaust had happened. Finnish people appreciate it a lot. They love Jewish people, honor the history, and are willing to visit this tragic place. You can see the pictures of this place on the internet. They are very different from what you actually see here, but everything really happened here. When the Germans yielded ground in 1943, they forced workers from local concentration camps to clean up their mess. Obviously, they didn't have time to burn all the corpses. Those people who had been made to dig out the remains and burn them revolted against the Nazis.
For Kirsi Saari, a visit to Babi Yar was anything but simple. Her father was one of the SS soldiers in Finnish volunteer battalion Viking. He served in Ukraine since 1939 till 1941, exactly in the period when mass extermination of Jewish people had taken place. Several years back, Finnish authorities made booming confession. Finnish soldiers, SS volunteers, had been involved in mass extermination of Jews and other civilians. Until then, everybody thought that the Finnish had nothing to do with Holocaust.
My father was a part of SS battalions. He used to tell fascinating stories of how they had nice walks as soldiers, how everything was great.
In Kirsi's family, nobody ever mentioned concentration camps or extermination of Jews, but she was persistent and kept asking.
Few years before my father's death, I worked up the courage to ask him what had really happened in Ukraine. He answered, "Yes, I saw what was happening. Nobody treated them as humans." He said, "I prayed. I didn't have to commit any of the atrocities. The blood is crying over here. I want to ask for forgiveness on behalf of my family and Finland."
Kirsi had learned all this not long before her father passed away. In the end, he not only broke the veil of silence over the topic of the Holocaust, but he also repented. Finnish delegates prayed as a group near the Menorah monument. They prayed that as many people as possible who were responsible for the Holocaust, as well as their descendants, would repent of their crimes for the tragedy to never happen again. The Holocaust tragedy may have nothing to do with you directly, but there is a possibility that somebody in your family is responsible for these crimes. Holocaust is not somebody else's history.